I want you to pay attention to the following thing I'm going to say because it's extremely important because it's a mindset shift. Often, I am asked to motivate people. And what people are looking for when they want motivation is they're looking for a fire inside of them that makes them want to do hard things, or the grit and determination to push through a wall which previously they saw as insurmountable. And the reason they need motivation to do this is because they think hard is bad. They think this is hard and I need to be pushed to do this to save my bloodline, to avoid eternal slavery, to make money, whatever it is. This is hard and I need somebody to encourage me to do whatever it takes to get through it. Because you view hard in the negative. Truthfully, it is the hard things in life that are the best things in life. It's amazing how God has linked difficulty and value. There is nothing in life which is valuable, which is not hard to obtain and hard to keep. Not a single thing. That's why it has value in the first place. If gold was everywhere, nobody would care about gold. People want gold because it is hard to find. That's the whole point of it. Difficulty, value are inextricably linked. So when you see something as hard, you see something as valuable, and you have to train your mind to be excited by hard things, to feel energized by the challenge, to feel self-motivated, not externally. You're self-motivated by the chance to prove to God you deserve this hard thing. And the most beautiful thing about difficult things is that it deters a large contingent of the populace because most people are not ready for hard. When they see hard, they quit. When they see hard, they make excuses for why they don't want it anymore. They cope. When most people see hard, they shy away from it, which is extremely important because you only want the things you want because other people can't have them. You want that girl because other people haven't had her. If everyone's had her, you don't want her. You want that car because other people can't buy it. You want to do what other people can't do. This has been the basis of masculinity since the dawn of human time. The Egyptians built the pyramid because it was hard, so that when people saw it, they knew it was hard to do because others couldn't do it. Men wanted to be the first people to sail the 7 seas and risk their lives, to cross Antarctica and risk freezing to death, to be the first person to do it so that everybody would say, wow, I bet that was hard. So people used to wake up and think of hard things they could possibly do. They'd wake up with a very fine and normal life, just like you are. You wake up, you have a bed, you have food, you're not freezing to death, you probably have a woman who texts you back, your life's fine, right? Some men are okay with that. Some men think, what is something hard I can do from here? In days of old, they would say, here's this unexplored land. That looks hard to get to. Let me take the risk so that my name is remembered. Remember, you should feel fantastic when you're given a challenge. When hard is put in front of you, you should say, finally, God, finally you've given me something difficult. My life has been too easy for too long. I'm too capable to live such a meager existence and simply survive. If you don't solve today's problems, you will not earn the blessings of tomorrow's problems. Now, this is something that you're sitting here thinking, well, I don't want problems tomorrow. Let me explain to you as a man, problems never go away. Life is a never-ending series of tests and battles. It is a long, if you are lucky, 80-year war, and there is battle to win every single day. If you manage to reach a stage of prosperity in which there is peace and serenity surrounding you, the best thing you can do is prepare for the future battle because you can be certain, as sure as you are that the sun will rise, that a battle will come. You think if I just get this much money, my problems will be gone. If I just get my girlfriend to stop arguing with me, my problems will be gone. If I just fix this one issue, my problems will be gone. It doesn't work that way. Tomorrow's problems are guaranteed. But if you do not fix today's problems, you do not earn tomorrow's problem. Every day is a problem. I have the problem of a beautiful woman who complains about dumb shit. Now I get to enjoy that problem. Lucky me, because I'm the man that she wants. If I didn't go through yesterday's problems of winning fights and getting rich and becoming important, I would not have the problems today of arguing with her. That is how life works as a man. There is no way out of it. So unless you solve today's problems, you do not get tomorrow's problems, because problems in and of themselves are a blessing. There is nothing worse than living in the eternal still, the ether of insignificance, where you have no problems, Nothing is really wrong. Nothing is really right. The bus always turns up. You always get to go to Starbucks. Your wages always turn up after you make the coffees. You go home. You don't have the problems, but you also do not have any innate chance. You don't have any tangible excitement in your life. Nothing is going to change. It is stagnation, which is destructive for the male soul. It's perhaps the most destructive thing. You need problems today so you're blessed with problems tomorrow, because you don't want that life. You want to not live in a zoo. There's a reason why animals die when they live in a zoo, because they have no problems. The food turns up, no predators, no enemies. They don't have to run away from the deforestation or the poachers. They just sit, lay around, wait to be fed, but they don't live as long as they do in the wild, because it is the problems that keep their soul alive. It is the problems, the fact they must hunt, the fact they must avoid their predators and enemies, the fact they have to avoid being poached. They have to change territory when the new alpha male moves in. They have to find somebody to mate with. They're not given somebody to mate with like they are in the zoo. They have to find something to mate with. That is what keeps the masculine spirit alive. That is what's so important. So you must change your attitude towards problems and see them as a blessing. But if you do not get to enjoy today's problems and solve them, you're going to have no problems tomorrow. And I guarantee you that life you dream of with no problems doesn't exist, because if you ever do find that life, it is torturous. And a man, if you're a full-grown adult, should only ever ask for a fair shot. If I were to say to you, you can make $10 million if you dig a hole deeper than your competitor across the next 12 hours, you shouldn't be asking me for a special shovel. You shouldn't be asking me to cheat. You should say, is it going to be fair? If he doesn't cheat and I don't cheat, I can beat him by sheer will. Because in a fair competition, quite often it is sheer will. It's the capability and ability to endlessly try, which will be the deciding factor. All you need to do is believe in yourself, believe in your capabilities, believe in your dedication, and you will win. I am happy when I look at a fair battlefield, because I know I'm going to win more than I've ever won. You know, when I was poor, they used to say, if you're rich, you can avoid taxes. And I used to hear people say, that's not fair. The rich should pay their taxes. And I thought, that is a loser's mentality. Do you know what I thought? I thought, good. So I'll get rich and I won't have to pay the same taxes. I just set myself up to win. I was like, fine, if that's how it works, then I'll win the game. All we've ever wanted is a fair shot. If you're a man at home watching this, you've only ever wanted a fair shot, nothing more, nothing less. And that is what you're going to be given. You're not going to be given an instant victory. In fact, the game has just begun. Nothing has ended. It's just started. And it is your chance to prove you deserve the success and prosperity you've been dreaming of. As a man, all you should ever be asking for is a fair shot. You shouldn't be asking for anything else. You should sit and say, I believe in my competence to the point where all I need is a fair chance. It's a world of men. You give me a fair chance, and I can do it. Give me a coin flip. I don't want anything more. I don't want anything less. The best the universe will ever give you is that fair chance. And if you're good enough as a man, and if you're prepared for it, then you can win. It's not a guaranteed victory. It's not free money. It's not the end of anything. It's the beginning of a fair game for the first time in a long time. Instead of it being rigged against you, it is now fair. And as a man, that should be all you have ever asked for. You don't want to cheat. You want a fair game. So we're now entering a period where it is finally fair again. And the problem with fair, because there is a problem, there's no light without dark, is that fair games are brutal meritocracies in which those who have prepared, those who work the hardest, those who are better than the others, are going to ruthlessly excel. What's happened is we have re-leveled the playing field. The game is once again fair, and it is there to be played and to be won. That is the situation we are in. Nothing has ended. Nothing has finished. It has only just begun. And I do not want to see complacency from all of you men at home who believe that somehow everything is finished and fine and the war is won. In fact, you should feel motivated and inspired to work harder now than ever before, because the game is now fair. The game will feel easy for the motivated. It's going to feel easier than ever before for those of you at home who are genuinely prepared to get rich. So what I'm saying is the game is going to become easier. It is, because we're no longer playing a rigged game that's against us. We're now playing a fair game. But if you're not going to play, if you're not going to make moves, you're still going to be crushed. It is impossible for you to fail. You must simply take action and you will win. Winning is guaranteed. If I had to say that to you, 2025 would be the year in which I say, this is the year where it is impossible to fail if you dedicate yourself, because for once the game is no longer rigged against you. For the first time in most of your adulthoods, a lot of you are younger than me, you weren't alive in 2016. You weren't around. You weren't cognizant. You weren't earning money. Your brain wasn't working. This is the first chance ever from January where the game will not be rigged against you, and you will see you've been playing on hard mode for so long that it's actually brutally easy. The problem is, and those of you who do not work will suffer worse than ever before, you do not deserve that which you do not appreciate. If you appreciate this level battlefield, this fair game, in which you can make as much money as possible without being held back, without reins and constraints. It's easy mode. You know, when you're the best of the best, you have to perform on your worst day. If you're a sprinter or a professional fighter, you are due to have a race or a fight on the 15th of July, 2025, and the day rolls around and you have a cold. You're not allowed to lose because you have a cold, because nobody cares. They're not going to say he lost because he had a cold. They're going to say he lost. You have to be better than your enemy on your worst day, and they may be having their best day. This is the reality of life as a man. Now, you do not deserve what you don't appreciate. You need to appreciate this level battlefield, because the level battlefield is actually easy mode. You're never going to have an easier mode than a fair game as a full-grown man. Fair game's the best you can possibly hope for. The universe does not want to give you things. Nobody feels sorry for you. Nobody cares about you. The best you can hope for is a fair shot. And a fair shot to me is easy mode, because I am the guy who's been out competing his opponents with a cold. I've been the guy who's been winning on hard mode. Here I am. I win when I'm outgunned, outnumbered. I win when the game is rigged against me. I'm the kind of guy you drop off in the middle of Antarctica, naked in the snow, expecting him to freeze to death. And then you come home to your little girlfriend and find her in bed with me. That's how I am, who I am. Nobody knows how I got off Antarctica. I just did it. I'm a winner. So a level fair game, a fair battlefield, is easy mode. You're waiting for easy mode. You're waiting for the game to change so that you have the winds in your sails. That's not how it's ever going to be as a man. It's going to be the opposite. The best you can hope for is a calm sea with no wind, and you can row with your muscle, with physical power against the waves. The wind is no longer against you, but it's never going to turn and be in your sails. Easy mode is fair. That's the best you're ever going to hope for. So if I say you do not deserve that which you do not appreciate, if you do not appreciate a fair game, if you do not appreciate a fair shot, if you do not give your absolute best for these next few years, now that it's as fair as it's ever going to be, you don't appreciate the chance you've been given. And if you don't appreciate it, you don't deserve it. And you know what? It's kind of funny how the universe works, because if you don't try during these years due to a lack of appreciation, you don't deserve these good times. And if you don't level up as a man, increase your physical capabilities, increase your financial and mental fortitudes, if you do not appreciate this time, you do not deserve this time, and this time will be snatched from you due to your own failures. It's amazing how things work. That's why it's so important you understand. The best thing you can do for society, for your bloodline, for yourself, for humanity, is for you to appreciate this chance and do your absolute best. If you appreciate this chance, you will use it. A fair shot is the best you're ever going to get as a man. You hope for a calm sea so that you can use muscles, rowing power, and through sheer exhaustion, you can outcompete the waves of the ocean itself. If you do not appreciate this chance, you will waste it. meaning you do not deserve it, and it will be snatched from you because you will not have the masculine agency or capability to preserve the good times against a zombie horde. They are regrouping. Your enemy is preparing and rearming. They are reloading their weapons. If you do not appreciate what you have, you do not deserve it, and the universe will snatch it from you. You're never accidentally brilliant. If you ask a person in the gym, how'd you get so many muscles? His answer is never oops. How did you put rockets in space? Oh, I don't know. Oops. It's never an accident. High intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. You now have a fair playing field. It's extremely important that you use it. Once again, to repeat, the war is not won. The battlefield's now fair. The game's no longer rigged against you. You should be excited. This is why I'm telling you, the battle hasn't ended. The battle has actually just begun. All of the work that you need to do is now more achievable than ever before, but the battle has just begun. And I've been telling you guys, I've been telling you to prepare. I've been telling you need to get money as soon as possible. I've been warning you because second chances like the one we're enjoying right now must be prepared for. Those of you which have been stacking money get to take advantage of this monumental bull run we're all going to enjoy. Those of you who have not been making money, who have not been dedicating yourselves, who have not been trying, are going to have to sit and endure from the sidelines, watching crypto go to the moon while your bags are empty because you did not try, you did not dedicate yourselves, you did not procure finance, and you deserve the sting of regret. You deserve the punishment for your incompetence and your lackluster behaviors. If you understand that fair playing field is the best thing you're ever going to get, if you understand it is now or never, if you understand this is the best chance you've ever had in history, if you understand the battle is not over, in fact, it's only just beginning, if you understand how much work you need to do, if you understand the monumental opportunities which are ahead of you, you just have to be dedicated and put some time in for once in your life. If you understand the monumental opportunities are ahead of you, the winners are going to enjoy the best days of their lives, but the losers are going to be suffering eternally and feeling the bitter sting of regret at a level that they've not had for the last 4 years. If you understand all of these things, there is only one sensible action, and the action is for you to make moves. You must be implored to stop sitting still, to stop being passive, to stop being impotent, observing from the sidelines. When you see the Bitcoin price, you should be mad you don't have 100 of them. If you have 100 of them, you should be mad you don't have 200 of them. If you have 500 of them, you should be mad you don't have 1,000. It is the eternal struggle and endless insatiability of man that has built the modern world, and we are returning in which men must constantly try endlessly. As a man, you must earn your friends. The harder you work, the more important you become. The more important you are, the more important your friends will be. And important friends improve your life exponentially. They massively improve your life, important friends. The better you become as a man, the better and more important your friends become. And it becomes a whirlwind, an upward spiral towards the top. It is very easy to win once you start winning. It is like a fire. It is hard to start, but when it is raging and half of the house is engulfed, it doesn't matter if the other half of the house is filled with non-flammable materials. It doesn't matter if there's water everywhere and it's raining and the tap is running. It doesn't matter. Once the house is half on fire, it's all gonna burn. There is no way out of this brutal reality. The women that you're seeing that you desire, that you want, the women that you're looking at every time you scroll and you get caught doom scrolling on Instagram, you can't be with them because you can't give them what they want in the value exchange, and what they want is money. We can have a conversation about whether this is fair. We can have a conversation about whether love is true. We can have a conversation about whether they are born with value and they manage to extract it from men without much effort. We can talk about all those things, but those are beside the point. That this is the brutal reality. Yeah, the rules of the game. This is the rules of the game. That is exactly how it now currently works. I remember being younger, being able to say to a girl, I can't afford that. You can't say that to women nowadays. They won't understand you can't afford it. The value exchange has changed. They expect you to be rich. So if you want to be a full-grown man with a hot Barbie girlfriend, you need to get rich. This is the reality of the world now. We can have a long conversation about whether girls are gold diggers or not, but it's not going to change anything. You look at the chessboard, and perhaps the situation seems unfair, but it's still a chess game. The pawn only moves in a certain way, and you're the king trapped in the corner with no money while your enemy rooks and bishops pin you down. There is nothing you can do about it besides find the only move that allows you to win. This is the game we now live in, gentlemen. That's all it takes. is to know a few important people, but important people have something extremely limited, which is time. And unless you have value to give them, they're not going to talk to you. Life is a value exchange. You have to offer value to people for them to even talk to. It's the same with everything. Your girlfriend gets value from you and you get value from her. That's why you're together. The second that ends, the second that stops, the relationship will end. It's the same with friendship. It's the same with networking. It's the same with business contacts. It's the same with everything. The best thing about becoming more important yourself is not only all of the trappings from your own successes, but it is the access to other important people. It is amplified via your network by knowing other important men. This is extremely important and it is under discussed. People say, I'd love to understand networking. Andrew, I'd love to just come talk to you for an hour. You can talk to me for an hour if you're Elon Musk. You can talk to me for an hour if you've achieved things. You cannot talk to me if you're a nobody. So by improving yourself, not only do you get the benefits and trappings of your self-improvement, you also get the benefits of getting the capability to speak to people who are perhaps above you or at least at the same level of you in this game of life. This is extremely important, and I want you to understand across these next 4 years with this fair battlefield. You're not just improving yourself for your community. You're not just improving yourself for your bloodline and for your family. You're improving yourself so you can also get access to other people who've improved themselves. It is an upward spiral to infinity. And once the house is half on fire, it's all gonna burn. I promise you, once you start winning, it is so easy to keep winning, it's almost impossible to lose. Let me give you a quick example. Very quick one though, and I'm gonna make it applicable to what we discussed earlier. Once you start winning, it is so ridiculously easy to keep winning. This is why the rich get richer. This is why the poor get poorer. It is important that you manage to bridge the great schism and this fair playing field and get into the winning side, because now the playing field is fair. It's going to accelerate how quickly and how much you start to win. You can start to win on a Monday and you can be one of life's winners by Sunday. It can happen that quickly. You can go from a nobody to a millionaire in 7 short days in the upcoming years if you're prepared to do the work. So let's talk about a mentality shift. How you do one thing is how you do everything. If you are efficient and you are hardworking in one thing, you're likely to be efficient and hardworking in all things. It's hard to find somebody who's very efficient and hardworking in area A and is a complete lazy slob idiot in area Y. That's not how it works. You have to get important. You have to focus on yourself. Self-improvement is the answer to all things. That is why it's important to get rich. That is why you must start training. This is extremely important. So I want you to understand. Now, let's talk about self-improvement, because a lot of people say, well, that's all true, Andrew. Yes. Why do you talk about self-improvement? Well, that's pretty obvious. If you focus on yourself and making yourself the best version you can be, you become closer and closer to being a lion by the day. A lion is not afraid of being by itself. A lion is not afraid of a big gorilla, a bear, a shark, whatever you want to call it. He can wander around alone. It's down to you. We need more people like you now. You need millions of dollars. You need to garner respect when you walk in a room. You need big arms. You need a network. You need capability. You need influence. You do. Which is why it is so important you understand this. Success is directly correlated with competence. Men are trying to become more competent than ever before. Women are getting prettier than ever before. I tell you, you never saw women this pretty 10 years ago. Something has changed in the air and they're more beautiful than they've ever been. Men are more rich than they've ever been. The winners are getting ahead. It's not time to get lazy. It's not time to celebrate. It's not time to get complacent. It's actually the opposite. It's time to knuckle down. The winners are going to win more than ever before. The losers are going to lose and they're going to be ruthlessly punished. It is time to win. So how do you find happiness? Happiness is in struggle. The struggle and the size of the struggle you're facing, along with how important it is and how important you feel it is deep in your heart, is directly correlated to how successful and how happy you're going to feel all of the time. Struggle is extremely important for a man. You should be looking to inject struggle into your life permanently. For a man, your contentment will come from your purpose, and it will come from your competence, and it will come from succeeding objectives. It will come from completing difficult things that other people cannot complete. It will never come from the easily accessible hedonism, which you have confused for fun. If everybody can do it, you shouldn't want to do it. If everybody can go to that concert, you shouldn't want to go. If everybody can go to that club, you shouldn't want to go. But you should only want to do things others can't do. The only fun I have is doing things I know you're not allowed to do. So you need to sit there and go, all right, I'm being asked to do something fun. Who else can do this? And if the answer is everybody, stop. I clear my emails. I've trained hard that day. I made a couple $1 million. I've checked on all the people I love, all the people I care about. I've donated some money to charity. My children are fed. Their mothers are taken care of. Everything is in order. Everything is in its proper place. That is fun. If you say to me, Andrew, skip a portion of that, skip a portion of that organization and professionalism so that we can go and do something that everyone else can do, my answer will be no. That does not sound fun to me. And the fact that you think that's fun shows that you have a severe mental deficiency. Stay away from it. You're only going to find actual fun through purpose. You're only going to find purpose through exceptionalism. So you need to become the best possible version of yourself in all realms. That's extremely important. The reason you are so unhappy is because you are trying to have fun. You're unhappy because you're trying to have fun instead of trying to become important. They are very different things, and you're never going to feel satisfied in your heart unless you become important. Please imagine, and I don't state this with arrogance, please imagine for a second you're the most Googled man on the planet, and you're a kickboxing world champion, and you have hundreds of millions of dollars, and you're built like a tank. Imagine how you feel when you look in the mirror. Nothing can match that, and nothing can beat that. Manifestation is real, but not because your mind manages to magically attract the things you want. I think it just reminds you of what you really want, and it allows you to find energy all the time. If you manifest yourself having a perfect physique, you're going to be a lot more motivated in the gym. It's not the thought that makes the physique, it's the gym that makes the physique. However, the manifestation makes you want to go to the gym. So I do believe that if you understood the power of your thoughts, you'd never think negatively ever again. But I think manifestation works in another way. I also think that once you understand all of the bad things and good things that come into your life are a perfect plan from God himself, you're going to be a lot less affected by the bad things. If something bad happens to you as part of God's plan, he knows what he's doing. In the end, you're going to be happy it happened. I often ask people, is there anything bad that's happened to you in the past at the time you were distraught about that you now wish didn't even happen? So if you understand you're always going to get there eventually, why be upset about it now, right? If you know in a year from now you'll be glad it happened, why be upset about it happening now? You have to be cerebral enough about things. As a man, you need to have struggle in your life. I want you guys to actually sit and think, what struggle are you going through daily? What struggle are you undertaking? What struggle are you trying to overcome? Because you should make a list of them. I can know for myself every single day I wake up and I train physically. Every single day I have to go through X amount of physical pain when my day begins. That is a struggle that must be completed. Then I must try and keep my massive empire online, see my children, take care of everybody. There's struggle involved. My life is difficult. Difficult lives are fulfilling because we used to have to hunt and fish and go out there and go through difficulty to survive. And when I look at men who are physical specimens, I think everyone naturally does this, but I'm going to openly say it. I respect them differently than I look at men who aren't. I have a different level of respect for them because they show me they have discipline. They show me they have motivation. They show me they're capable of doing difficult and hard things. Those are the kind of people I trust. They're not afraid of struggle. They're problem solvers. People who train are problem solvers, and you need to become one. And you need to become very, very adept at solving problems pretty quickly. Do you not understand how intimidating that is when they look at a group of people and they all look like superheroes and they can tell they're all disciplined, all hardworking, all dedicated, all physically strong? The struggle is what's beautiful about it. That's the most important thing. That's what you have to understand. First, you want to become as strong as physically possible. So you want to be as strong as physically possible. Next, you want to try and make as much money as possible. Not even necessarily for the money, although money is extremely important because it allows you to take care of yourself. We talked about this before, but there's a challenge involved, and solving that challenge is going to make you feel more satisfied as a human. Happiness comes from success, and making money is success. You should try and make people around you smile and be happy. You should try and encourage positivity around you. You should be the kind of person that no one can really complain about their struggles around because they know that you're the person who's going to be like, why are you complaining when you could just simply fix it? I think if you take these approaches, if you take the approach of manifesting what you want so you're constantly motivated and understanding all the bad things that happen to you are just a lesson and one day you're going to get over it, it's pretty easy to be a happy, contented, balanced person. I don't think there's any serious magic to happiness. I think it's a choice and it's pretty easy to do. I think the unhappiest people in the world don't have any struggle at all. You often find that people who are struggling but know exactly what they're supposed to do, if they're getting up every day and they're grinding and they're working hard and they don't have what they want yet, but they believe they're going to get it and they're trying their very best, they're dedicating themselves, they're very happy. Perhaps the people who were born with a trust fund and unlimited money and have no struggles in their life and they have no objectives to try and conquer are truly the miserable ones. Perhaps we're built for struggle. Perhaps the human mind and soul and spirit is built to struggle. Perhaps we're built to suffer. I know me as a man, I'm happiest when I suffer. Why did the emperors we discussed earlier constantly try and expand their empires? Because they wanted to struggle. Yeah. They wanted difficulty. Would you play a video game if it was easy? If you could never die? I mean, cheats get boring pretty quick. You play it because it's hard. That's the whole point of it. You're supposed to struggle with it. You're supposed to suffer with it. So I think a lot of people confuse these things and they sit and say, this is merely making me unhappy. Or, if I woke up and everything was just perfect, that'd be great for a few weeks. But if you just wake up and nothing ever goes wrong, I think that'd be quite depressing in its own way. That's the beauty of life, is the up and the down, because there's no light without dark. This is actually why people are addicted to video games. Young men are addicted to video games because it mimics virtually what they ought to be doing in the real world.
Yeah.
Effort in to upgrade their character, to become a better version of themselves so they can do better things than they could previously do and explore new areas of the map. You understand this in video games, and you do it in video games because it's very interesting to do. However, you don't want to do it in the real world. But in the real world, it's so much more rewarding. And I actually going to argue that we're living in one of the final periods where that's true. I'd say in a few generations, who you are and who your physical body is may not matter nearly as much.
No, but it does matter today. A lot.
Exactly. So that's why you should enjoy it while you can. I believe you live, stretch, move, improve your body, try and train MMA, learn how to fight, get stronger, get bigger muscles. It's a fast track to self-discipline, which will carry over into all other endeavors. And I would argue that it's nearly impossible. In fact, how many people can say the gym saved their life? How many people do you know were depressed, started training, got in fantastic shape, and weren't depressed anymore? It is very easy. The low-hanging fruit is your body and upgrading your body. That is the easiest struggle, which is never going to backfire on you and never going to be a negative towards any other facet of your life. If I say something, I stick to it. I believe that your word is your bond, and you should stick to everything you say. So for me, the simplest life hack is to make sure I never see myself as a liar. If I say something, I'm going to do it. So if I say I'm going to run a marathon, I now have the energy to run the marathon because I don't want to break my word to myself. Which the hack to that is I don't need the energy to run the marathon. I need the energy to say I'll run a marathon, which is a lot less. But once I've said it, I have to do it. So if I look at something and I don't want to do it, and I think that looks too hard to do, I'll tell Tristan or I'll tell someone close to me I'm going to do it. So now I have to do it. Just be brutally honest with yourself all the time. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to make the correct move on the chessboard. If you think you're better than you are or worse than you are, you're going to make mistakes. You need to know exactly where you are. You and your friends need to have friendly competition at all times. Now, you need to meet your friends, and you need to have banter and competition around things that matter. Who's got the most money? Who's worked hardest? Who's discovered XYZ? Crypto, stock, new way of generating income? Who's trained that day? Who has the most children? Put some actual competitions together that matter and start competing and being around people, because you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Everybody knows this. So why don't you get some genuine metrics that will improve your life? You won't have time to stand around cooking meals if you're friends with somebody who works out for 3 hours a day, for example, because you're going to need to find 3 hours a day to train to beat him, which means you're going to have to just eat that rotisserie chicken as you do squats, like a man should. Live with men you're in competition with. This is ultra important, because you can measure yourself against your circle. Get your act together, get some genuine metrics, things that matter, and once they're all put together, you're going to live in a naturally competitive environment, which is going to increase your testosterone level. It's going to prevent you from doing a lot of dumb shit. And the competition one's great, because you can apply it to everything. I think that getting rich when you're young as a man is probably one of the worst things that can happen. You don't want to get rich to your late 20s. You want to spend all your 20s broke and grinding. Broke, grinding, training. If I had money at 18, 19, I would have skipped so many experiences and so many hard lessons. I'd be a fraction of the man I am today. So I don't like the idea of kids just gambling and getting lucky. Now, that's the worst thing that can happen to a young man. He's skipping all the struggle, all the pain and suffering he's going to attempt to skip with money. He's going to end up suffering more in the end, but he's going to just lose. I often see that when I speak to people who are too comfortable, they end up being unhappy.
Yeah.
You can't entertain yourself to happiness. You must earn happiness. You must climb a mountain. You must struggle yourself to happiness. That's extremely important. There must be physical, mental, social, creative, some kind of spiritual struggle. And those things being satisfied is what's going to satisfy you. It's like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a mathematical equation. You solve the equation, you get Bitcoin. Life is very much the same. There's struggles, there's difficulties which you have undertaken, which you have adopted to try and complete. And when you finish those things, then you get satisfaction as a reward. That's the Bitcoin. The only other alternative to that, to feel good, is hedonism. And that's not going to satisfy you for very long. And it's also going to destroy your life. So it's extremely important. Masculine competition is fun. I think what's fun as a man is being the best.
at anything, right? So I live in a very masculine environment because masculine competition drives you forward. We all work together. We all work inside of the company, and we're very successful. But I don't really know what's fun anymore. I just feel like nothing's really fun anymore besides working hard, or you need an activity which is so adrenaline filled that it distracts you, which is why I love driving fast cars and fighting, because it's the only time I'm not thinking about work. Yeah, so I'm happy just to get my work done, and maybe I'm starting to get old after all. I'm 37, I'm getting old. I see my kids, I do my emails, I train hard, maybe go for a drive with the car, maybe get a coffee. That's it. Oh, he doesn't go to the gym because of XYZ, or he feels down. That's fine, but he needs to go to the gym. So we can talk about all the reasons he doesn't go forever. That's a very long, lifelong conversation, but he needs to go. So we've removed the needs, and we've removed the hard facts and the duty and the honor and the commitments, and we've replaced it all with this subjectiveness. And there's nothing more subjective than feelings. How I feel inside on a day I say I'm happy might be the exact same way someone feels inside on the day they say they're sad, because their expectation might be higher for happy because they only think they're happy when they're running around laughing like a child. I don't really give a shit how the men I know feel, because they have things they need to do. And as long as they're going to do them like they're supposed to do them, I don't really care that much. And if they were to come to me and say they feel down about something and they had a good reason, I wouldn't be insensitive. That's fine. But we're talking about a death of a family member or something, and we're talking about 1 or 2 days until you just get back to life. You have things to do. If you're rejecting struggle, and that struggle, solving those problems lead to a positive place, once you become addicted to it, you're going to become a machine of monumental achievement. There are some very simple, basic things you can do. Weight training, chess, having debates, trying your very best to take care of your mother, retire her, make sure that your people who you love are taken care of. You need goals and resistance and something to fight against to live well. Because the distance between pain and joy is what we experience. If you only have joy all of the time and no pain, you are not going to be happy. You don't need fun. Fun is the vector from which Satan operates. Every time you look at something which is fun, it's all just hedonistic. There's no money to be made. You don't retire your mother. You don't help the world. You don't give to charity. You don't become stronger. You don't become wiser. You don't learn anything. Experiences are unique. Jail was a unique experience. Bunch of fun. Unique. Life's not about fun as a man. Life is about doing the right thing because it must be done. Now, there are some things that are fun which can be earned, and there are some things which are fun that you could do which perhaps involve skill. Driving a supercar around a racetrack is fun. It involves skill. You have to be good at what you do. Cool. But a lot of this fun that is easily accessible to everyone, because not everybody can get a Ferrari on a closed racetrack. I can. You can't, because you're poor. You do not need fun until you've already reached the highest possible echelon. So this whole idea that you need fun in your life, you don't. What you need is purpose. You need discipline. You need hard work. You need things to do which are going to benefit you and others around you. You need duty. You need obligations. And you need performance metrics. You need people around you who are going to hold you accountable. You're nobodies. You're not important. Nobody knows who you are. You're not physically strong. You're not financially wealthy. You have bigger concerns. Your obsession with fun is holding you back. These things you think are fun aren't fun. Action solves all things. Time solves all things. God solves all things. And to sit around and be obsessed with feelings is highly feminine. I don't like that energy around me. If I feel sad, I don't cry. Just get on with life. It's the adult mentality. So I'm not sure. Feelings don't cross my mind, if that makes sense. They don't cross my mind because they don't affect my day. So it doesn't change anything. So I have other things to think about. People are afraid of accepting there's a problem because then they know they have a responsibility.
Yeah, then you gotta get it. Yeah.
And they don't want to do anything. 1, because they're lazy, and 2, because they're afraid they might lose. So they'd rather pretend there's no problem at all. And I think I often say to people in a lot of my videos about a lot of other subjects that it's not always the winning and the losing. It's the fighting in the first place. And there's plenty of men in history you remember who ended up losing in the end. Napoleon, for example, who still fought, which is why they mattered. If you're only going to fight when you're guaranteed to win, then no bravery is required. And you have to fight so that you can look back on your life and feel happy that you tried to do something when you knew it was going on before it was too late. Forget about the winning and losing for now. Focus on the fight. You must wait for the moment when the opponent's mind is scattered and strike without hesitation. If you do not overcome your tendency to give up so easily, your life will lead to nothing. Objectify your demons so you control them instead of them controlling you. Fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision. You have to train your mind to be stronger than your emotions, especially your impulses, or else you're going to lose yourself. You will only be found by the devil once you are lost, and he will lead you to hell. Most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by men who kept fighting when there seemed to be no hope at all. That's a good slogan for life. You should wake up, look in the mirror, and say, suddenly, the champion returns with initiative and vengeance.
Truthfully, a man, I believe, is being able to do the things that are hard or do things you don't want to do because you're supposed to do them. I think it's what a man's always been. A man is supposed to be strong. He needs to be strong, so he has to become strong. That's his job. A man is supposed to be brave. It's not that you can't feel fear. It's that you have to be brave. Oh, an attacker's here. I'm afraid, but I'm a man, so I will go and engage the attacker. It is my job. And now we're teaching men, you don't have to do what you don't feel like doing. You can do what you do feel like doing. The thing that people struggle with most, especially men, is that we only learn lessons the hard way. That's the problem. You want to be good at learning lessons the easy way, which is really paying attention and making sure the feedback you're receiving, you need to be perceptive to it so that it doesn't have to be so hard hitting. You need to be the kind of person who goes out for a drive and his wheels slide a bit and he slows down. But what people typically do is they go out for a drive, their wheels slide a little bit, they continue, and then they crash. And then they realize I should have slowed down once they hit a tree. They only learn the hard way. But when they got the easy little bits of feedback, they didn't want to pay attention to them because it was easy and they thought they got away with it. And it's the same with a relationship and the same with everything else. There's little bits of feedback. You go, okay, this is going to be a problem later on if I continue. But they ignore that part. They wait for it all to blow up and go wrong. And then they learn. So men only learn the hard way. And the reason they're sitting at home, even if they don't admit to these ailments, wondering why they're so unhappy all the time, is because you're fighting an internal battle. Your monologue is different in your mind from what your spirit truly wants. You want to be respected. You want to be strong. You want to stand up for what you know is right. You want to be a man, and you're just too afraid to engage the enemy, so you're going to self-destruct. You're going to turn on yourself. There's a fire inside of you. There's a fire inside of absolutely every man, and you can either direct it at your enemy and do your very best to destroy him, or it's going to burn inside of you and eat you alive. You have to make a choice. The cowardice that you feel that prevents you from engaging the enemy is the biggest betrayal, because now you're just engaging yourself. The battle's certain either way. So I strongly recommend you find who the enemy is and direct your efforts towards their destruction, as opposed to sitting there allowing yourself to self-immolate.